Hello, everyone. We are here and we are here. Cheers. And we are talking advice and women. Before I forget, go ahead and make sure you like, share, and follow the Question Time page. Also, make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do your girl that favor. Hello. And I am going to do one more thing for myself. Just go to the Question Time page and make sure I share this live. Boom, bam, pow. Okay. So we're talking again. Women. Like, who do we get our advice from? Who do we get our freaking advice from? And this question plagued me because it's so, I guess it's so contradictory. Um, Let me, you know what else I need to do? This. I'm sorry, guys. 2 seconds. I wish they would let me do this before it starts, but I'm not able to. Sorry. Give me 2 seconds. I am becoming much more efficient in this process that I have going here. Y'all, please don't kill me. Don't kill me. What am I looking for? Draft. Yeah, that's right. This is my confused look. Yeah, that's it. Okay, well, I don't know. So we're talking women advice. Blah, 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 blah. Let me go back to this and get this party started. Boom. Welcome. Sis can. Sis can what? Oh, yes, I sent it individually. I must say, I am exhausted today. I'm exhausted. It's been an exhausting day. So, sis can what? Get advice from anybody. Sis can just talk. What can sis do? Oh, I think you might be frozen. Oh, there you are. You were frozen, looking down at something. Oh, I'm glad you talked because my volume is like non-existent. So again, we're talking advice. My dad was like, "Oh, that's a good topic. That's a good topic." I'm like, "Yeah, because I get all my advice from most of my advice from you." So, what? Zip, zip, zip your lip. Okay, you're zipping lips. So women shouldn't get advice from anybody. Okay, let me tell you why. I So I got this because I had posted this video about Steve Harvey saying that men should take care of the woman. Men need to like stop with this modern day, whatever they're doing, and they need to take care of. They need to go back to the olden days because the new ways of doing things isn't working for them. And this dude commented, if women just listen to Kevin Samuels, they'll be better for it. And I'm like, is that where you want women to get their advice from? Like, you've got to be kidding me. Oh no, and then another dude said, um, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. Welcome, Andrew somebody. I don't remember the last name, but Andrew somebody. So my question is, let's just get to it. Who can women take advice from? Steve Harvey, Derrick Jaxn, Steven Speaks.
I think the question is not who women can take advice from. I think the better question is why aren't people giving women advice? Why aren't other women giving people advice? I think that Kevin Samuels, Derrick Jaxn, the only reason they thrive is because women are searching for
Mm,
advice and answers, and women are not sharing with women like they used to. I don't know if it's because younger women became kind of headstrong, and so older women stopped sharing advice, or if it's a matter of older women just are busy being young still, and there's a deficiency in that. And I'll say this is a women issue. That's why my lips are zipped, because I believe the fault is all women related. I remember, and I hate to keep talking about my ex-wife on every broadcast, but I remember
tell her to join the
always,
next one.
uh, I remember always being told how I should act to crazy episodes. And I thought one day, is there anybody in her circle around her coaching her on how she should respond to me? Because everyone's always telling me how to be men. Women are telling you how to be a man. A man's telling how to be a man. Your church is telling how to be a man. But you don't hear things about how to be a woman from other women. I don't know if people think you guys naturally get it, but it's an issue. So I think the better question is, why aren't people, women, talking and teaching other women? And then you won't have to listen to Kevin Samuels and Derrick Jaxn.
Well, I asked my dad this question. I said, well, who should women listen to? And he said, older women. And I was like, okay, okay. But the problem is, older women aren't older women. Like moms, like if I'm 20, my mom is 40, if that. Like she's not an old, like she's an older woman, but she's not really an older woman. And I was watching a video, ironically, just before this with Kevin Samuels, and he was talking about how women nowadays are competing with each other. Moms are going to the club with their daughters. And if mom is 40, girl is 20, they're looking at the same dudes. You say, what?
I'm not going to let y'all get away that easy, though. I'm looking at two women who I respect professionally, spiritually, and emotionally. Great women, great mom. I won't age you all, but both of you all are old enough to be mentoring somebody. What teenager or early 20 something year old are either of you mentoring right now?
First of all, I'm single. I can't advise nobody. If somebody asks me a question, I am happy to answer according to how I believe. But we also have to take in mind that girls nowadays are not the girls from the 80s, not the girls from the 70s. They ain't trying to listen to nobody. They know everything. They can't know no more. So to answer your question, I don't have anybody. But if you would like to send somebody my way,
So
I'm more than happy.
I,
reconcile that with what me and your dad said, though. If older women are supposed to be teaching, and you now are getting to the age of being a semi older woman, and you've already said, ain't no point of teaching because they're not listening, we're going to be in trouble.
I
Oh,
think
you
that
been?
that
Go
I
ahead.
think that that's the issue. You can't teach something you don't know. That's number one. So if we weren't taught, then the expectation for us to teach isn't shouldn't be there. But for me, I put sis can. For
So
me, for me, I want in order for someone to speak into my life, to talk to me, I would like for it to be a black female who's gone through in America. And I believe that you can learn from a lot of people, but I think I receive more from someone who I can identify with and see myself in, and maybe she could see herself in me. Um, but for because I have children, and for me, I have two cousins that stand out. One is 16, The other is 25. And they have their lifestyle is what I want my children to be like. They're quiet but strong. They don't say much, and until it needs to be said. They're great students. They're great people. And the 16-year-old is Nadia, and I have my children around her as much as possible. The other one is my cousin Taylor, and I'm like, hey, text your cousins. I think that nowadays people don't learn by you telling them and like yeah, 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 but
Mhm.
just a model lifestyle. They'll absorb what they can get from that. Just live a certain way, and by all accounts, I feel like they're successful in their age groups. They're doing what they can within their age groups. They are age appropriate. Nadia is 16. She's not 18. She's not 16 trying to be 18. Taylor was always age appropriate. She's 25, not trying to pretend like she's 35. So I want that for my children. So I know I can't reach them and I can't give them everything. They're gonna need it from other people because back to last week, it takes a village. So I make sure those two women, those two girls, young women are in my children's life. So you can. There's a lot to teach. Just your lifestyle could do it all. You don't have to tell somebody how to live. Just you live the life, and I'll see it.
Does that diminish the need for verbal instruction or counsel? Because there may be something that comes on in my life at 16 or 25 even. At 16 or 25, is Nadia and Taylor, are they looking at somebody 45 and 50 just learning from looking? Or is there never a time where someone can call a woman accountable? Because in a man's world, he may not have a model to look at. But I do believe that with instruction, he can find a way to be modified. Who is that person who can call you and give you unsolicited advice about something? Or do you yourself, this is to you, Sis Can, do you feel like you can call and reach out to Nadia or Taylor and give them advice if you saw something that was awry?
I do. I do. I feel like they would um, receive it. They might kind of sit with it for a while, but I do feel like I can give them advice. And I have people that who are living the life that I will take advice from. I feel like if you're not living the life I'm trying to get to or I'm striving for, I mean, or that's not true because if you're living the complete opposite, you have something to give me too on what not to do. I think it all depends on the person that is willing to receive the information because I
Right.
learn from anybody. Um, I mean, because I would prefer her to look like me because I think it's a specific struggle for Black women in America. So that for me is the anchor to receiving like life changing advice. That if she can look like me, then I feel like I receive it even more because she's gone through the struggles that I'm going to encounter or I have encountered, and I think that tips the scales.
Yeah, we as Black women do live by a different set of rules. Like
You said dudes do?
Black women, we live by a different set of rules from white women.
So does that mean you don't think you can learn anything of value from white women, not Barbara Walters?
That's not no Barbara can't teach me nothing but how to interview people. What
I
Barbara
can
gonna teach me?
learn from I would prefer that she
Right.
look at me. I think that solidifies what she says. Uh-oh, I'm in the car, y'all.
Man, it would be nice if you use your cell phone light.
That's why I'm still illuminated because I got that on
Oh.
Yeah,
too.
don't
But
be don't be tacky like flashlight guy from last week.
let me shut
But
my car
so
turns off
I
if it just
how
sitting
I
idle
feel
for a while.
about unsolicited advice, I'm not a fan of giving somebody unsolicited advice.
You're not a fan of giving them unsolicited advice?
Right.
There's no one that you care enough about that if you saw them going the wrong way, you would just say, you know what, you didn't ask me this, but I'm gonna tell you.
I would, but I'm not a fan of it
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's the difference between you and Sis can, because she gonna
because I
tell you.
feel like when you and this comes from like going to Bible study and people talking about, oh, I don't go to them because they think they know everything, this, that, and the third. You become that person that knows everything. Like, oh, she always got something to say. Even if you only said something last week and you moved along, they're like, oh, she always got something to say. So I prefer that this person ask or even seem like they want to ask, and then I'll give advice. But the question is, who do I get advice from? Who can I get advice from? Because dudes
Hmm.
tell you, stop talking to your friends. Your friends, you don't be getting advice from your friends. It's like, why? They've been through stuff. I mean, I don't. I think guys should be saying, don't listen to everything your friends say. You can get advice from them, but don't listen to everything they say.
I've gotten my best advice. I think it's categories. So when it comes to relationships, I've gotten my best advice from men. Um, with,
Mm-hmm.
like, so I could call up a friend. I'm like, hey, this is the situation, and he's like, this is what it is. I've gotten my best advice from guys. I am going through divorce, no secret, and if I feel like had I had that perspective in my marriage, things would be different because I was isolated and feeling like this was something that he did, not that men did. So I wish I would have had that perspective then. When it comes to mothering, of course, I get the best advice from mothers, especially mothers of multiple children. Mothers of single children, I don't really get much from them. Not that they don't have anything to offer, but if you have three or more, then we're in the same mental space, and I think it's a difference. Financial advice, I've gotten the most benefit from guys again. Um, when it came to saving, older women. So I think it is categories. It is what is the topic that you're trying to get advice from, and that will determine what group you need to talk to.
I agree. I think everything is, but I think everything is categorical.
Oh, well, I got something to say though. I forgot.
Okay.
But I also feel
Not
like
but.
you have to be selective in who you talk to, because I talk to guys about certain situations, and then I feel like I disqualified myself from being with that guy because I shared too much, or I needed a certain level of advice, and it was like, I can't really. We could be friends, but we can't be nothing else. And maybe that's just my experience. But I feel like some things disqualify you from being in a certain circle. So, and that's anything. If you asking a woman for a certain type of advice, it's kind of like, oh, you're not on my level. Some people feel like you still got learning to do. So I have to put you in this space over here.
Right. That's why I only get advice from guys I don't want to talk to.
Yeah, mistake made.
And I'm usually getting advice for them. But anyway, yeah, but I feel like I think it's hard for going to the Stephen Speaks, the Kevin Samuels, the Jackson boy. I feel like, and I agree, women aren't getting the advice or the suggestions on men that we want. So we do seek it out from. I'm not gonna say we because I'm not gonna include myself in this one because I'm not she. They do seek it out from any and everybody, and especially if it makes them feel like they're a better person or they're doing something right. And that's what a lot of them give advice that's based on that makes you feel good, like you are number one. You are we are the prize, but you are the one that should be doing this. He should bow down to you, type of stuff. I think that ruins a lot of women.
As far as this Kevin Samuel, Derrick Jaxn thing, just think about that. When is the last time you saw a woman viral for giving advice to women that you can remember her name, remember her book? You don't. You can think of Steve Harvey, but even men see these, other than Kevin Samuels, I see Steve Harvey as a panderer. He panders to women to drive his book sales. Steve Harvey is not teaching women how to think like a man. He's teaching women to think like Steve Harvey And he don't even think like that because he wouldn't have so many marriages. Anybody following that advice is silly. I saw a viral video clip of him this week, and he's saying, I'm sick and tired of these guys thinking, when did a man think it was a woman's job to be responsible and to help him pay bills and this, that, and that, another. Sounds good. The math ain't mathing though. If a man needs help, he needs help. If y'all are married, if a man has to qualify, I'll give you a true story. I talked to a girl for a day and a half. Literally started talking, and the first day she had 2 kids. She said, I'm about to go pawn 2 of my favorite rings so I can buy them something to eat. First time talking to her. And she said it a few times, and I could tell that my response was supposed to be, oh no, you don't have to do that. Let me buy them something to eat. First time talking. That wasn't my response because I knew that's what she'd expected. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, how silly is that? If a man met you and he started talking to you the first day and he said, man, I ain't had no coochie in about 3-4 months. I want some coochie. You gonna say, no, we just. But that is how we have trained society to think, and that kind of thinking is what's causing men not to take women serious in relationships or even being interested in finding a serious thing. They're just looking for something that's fun because they've been burned or scorned about something like that. You, a woman should take advice from whoever, but I feel like a woman, and I understand, that we have these men, but grandmas and those women who know what it's like. I slowed down having sex with your granddaddy, and that's how Miss Mary came in, and that's why your third uncle got a different daddy. Those stories need to be told. I think it needs to be. Don't act like it's just my family that got that kind of drama going on, ma'am. But literally, I think those stories from women, they have to be vulnerable with telling their children and their grandchildren the ugly parts of their story. I don't think a man can speak to those parts of a woman. Me personally, I don't think.
Well, 2 questions. The first one, what advice did you give her when she said she gonna pawn whatever to get whatever? And I forgot the second question, so move along.
The truthful answer is, I said, hey, let me call you back. Never called back. She called, she texted, then she sent a text saying, I guess we're not gonna ever meet. We never met in person. We talked on the phone once. That blew my mind.
Well, you also have the advice coming from women like Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, where they're
Be
like,
careful. Be careful. You may offend somebody on this
she like the
broadcast,
music. She ain't taking their advice.
and here's
Oh,
a hint: it's not you, and it's
good
not
to
me.
know. That was close. So, like, they're giving you advice on get your money, use him to get what you got to get. So, old girl probably listening to Meg Thee Stallion, and like, I'm just trying to get this money.
I think one a female that's giving female advice is Jackie Perry. And I like her.
Who?
Jackie Perry. She gives
Jackie Perry.
her audiences are always filled with women.
Okay.
Secondly, let's get off Med because she's giving sound advice, real nuggets of wisdom. I think that the issue is that there are immature minds listening to it. She is talking about the entrepreneur, the woman that can stand on her own feet, and a
Oh God.
man is not
Come on.
the maker of what she has. You got to listen to the
Please
lyrics.
tell me these lyrics.
Put him
Just for
on his knees, give him something to believe in. Write that down. We'll talk about that later. But I feel like
what?
I feel like
Your mom don't bring your dad to the mall because he be choosing.
because when he in there, she know he be choosing. Hands on my knees, shaking on my thigh. I'm just saying.
How is that entrepreneurial?
Right, you gotta listen to all the lyrics. You can't just take a little piece. You can't just take a little tidbit. You gotta read the beat. What came? You gotta hear what came before and what came after.
Okay, it's biblical. Okay,
It ain't
okay.
biblical. It ain't biblical. But
It's
it's
like the Bible.
simple.
You gotta read before and after. Don't just read that
Right.
verse.
That's
Two
in the book.
verses up,
That's in
two
the book. You
verses
can't start in
down.
the middle of a book. You read Moby Dick. You can't start in the middle. You got to read the beginning and the end. That's anything. I'm just saying it's literature. Literature.
Okay.
But anyway, getting off of Meg, because Meg is the stallion. I feel like advice needs to be filtered. You need to understand who you're getting it from, because not everybody got your best, your best, your best intent and mind. Some people are miserable and they want you to be miserable as well. But I also think that sometimes, and this happened to me today, I received advice from 3 Black women, 3 women of rich color. And I was going through a situation and I was over it with the father of my children. And they said, sometimes you gotta pick your battles and accept loss because you're looking at the future. And my response was, I'm so sick of, and I said this to them, I'm so sick of the Black woman who has to heal herself while healing
Preach
others'
that.
narrative. I'm tired of saying you got to suck it up, or hearing you got to suck it up for the betterment of the group. What about the buzzword, mental state of mind? What about my mental health? And I said, I'm going all the way. We're going to fight it out.
Hello.
I'm tired of saying you have to take a loss and let him take a win. So that advice was hard to digest from my people, from the group that I want advice from. So I think you have to, it's not one, I go back to, it's not one category you could take advice from. It's not one group. It depends on the situation. And the common denominator for Black women and women, but namely Black women, is you take the loss and you figure it out and you self-process, you self-heal, you
You be
soldier on,
strong.
and you raise these children to the best of your ability. And if that means by yourself, you can't force him to do anything. So you got to do it. So my response is, I can't force him, but y'all can force me. I have to take the kids. He is optional. So I think we have to, it's all in categories.
I I apologize. I'm watching the playoffs with my folks. I want to say this because I just thought about you muted me earlier, Brand. I'm assuming you guys could hear the game, but I want to say this. I was talking to a Black woman yesterday who called me for prayer and advice, and she called me about a situation, and she was wondering about how she should respond when her husband came home because she was so angry. She told me what her mom told her, and I gave her advice, and I thought it was good. And she said her mom told her when he comes in the house, act like everything is fine, like he been there the whole time, and like he just came right out the bathroom, just a normal time. And I thought to myself, I said, that was great advice for her to say to him, even though when he comes in, you want to jump on him, yada, 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 yada. Why you this? Where you been? Y'all, you did this. She said, if you treat that front door like the bathroom, think about if you and your spouse are just sitting at home doing nothing. He goes in the bathroom and come out. It's not a big deal. He's just coming out the bathroom. And I said to myself, so many men would be easier to reach if that was a response of a woman. We'll get to the talking and the fussing and the fighting later, or communicating about it later. But the rah, rah, rah cutoffs, then a lot of men wouldn't be afraid of going home to talk after you've done something stupid or after something's happened if you had that kind of response. But I wouldn't have been able to give that to that woman because my experience, I would have talked like the man who's afraid to come home because he's messed up or done something. this. Her mom had some experience to say, if you want to get to the place where you get to express yourself, when he walks in the door, act like he just came out the bathroom and nothing's wrong. So I think that, again, even though Ashley said the advice she got from her selected people was kind of rough to digest, maybe those are days like that, but I'm going to put it on. My lips are still zipped. Women have to fix women. I don't think men can do it.
If he messed up, he shouldn't be skippity doo dah day coming home. But I read an article. It was from like the 1950s, and I actually liked the article. I want to say I have a copy of it somewhere, where it says something similar to the effect where when he comes home, give him 15-30 minutes of just chilling. Now, this is women that have not been at work themselves. They've been at home all day. But it says give them 15 minutes to just relax, to decompress from the day, and to chill in front of the TV or whatever the case may be. And I agree that I think that would definitely help. That will definitely give people the chance, or man, because apparently it's about him, the man, the opportunity to then come to her and say, how was your day? And then she can be like, well, let me tell you something. Oh, and then on the being selective on who you get advice from. Jay said that he feels that Steve Harvey cannot say anything because he's had 3 wives, 2 divorces, and he just can't give advice. Do you feel that somebody that has had a divorce, or somebody that is not in a relationship, like Stephen Speaks, for example, I've never heard of him being in a relationship, but he's always given advice. Like, why haven't you found this woman yet? Do you think those people can actually give advice, or should they just chill and just stay off to the side?
I feel, well, because I've given advice to women who are married, who I see that was in my position. And but my advice comes from a don't do what I did. I try to be as open and vulnerable in those times, and that was very difficult for me in the beginning to give my business out. But I think that I think yes, because I can receive or from a woman who says don't do this, because this is what I did. So yeah, but if you're trying to say you need to do this and you need to do that, that's different. It's hard to receive from a person who's telling you what you should do and they didn't do it, or it didn't work for them. If either one or two.
Right, and that's how Steve Harvey gives his advice. He gives his advice as in,
Right.
y'all need to do this, and y'all, this is what y'all need to do to keep a woman, and this is what y'all need to do to keep a man, as opposed to saying, this is how I know because I've had 2 divorces, and this is where I went wrong with my divorces.
Right. So I think it's a difference in the way that you deliver the information, and it's a difference in the way you deliver the information, particularly for me, on how I would receive it as well. I don't like when people say this is what you should do. I can't stand that sentence. This is what you should do. Or I like to say this is what I would do. Give me a suggestion. Don't tell me what I should do. And I do that too. There's a level of pride in that for me, just to be honest.
And I think a lot of times men who give that advice, they give it even from a broken place inside of them. I had a pastor who struggled in the beginning of his marriage with infidelity, and struggled in his marriage with a lot of things that were very open and public. And to save his marriage, he sort of became henpicked years later.
Became what now?
Henpicked. I mean, it was so bad to the point where after church, he wouldn't greet any women of the church. He went straight to his office. And when he would preach on marriage,
henpicked. I think that's what she's asking.
Oh yes, what henpicked? I'm sorry, I said it in my head. Help me.
Right. So henpicked is a man that does whatever his
women say.
Wife
They're giving him all this advice.
Right. Whatever his wife says is what he does.
Got it.
And he used to even say things like this. People say I'm henpicked, but it's okay because I'm picking the right hen. But it literally, even when he would preach, he did a series on marriage, and every sermon he beat up men and made men feel like, and I remember me and another minister in the church were talking, and he said, the minister, he said, he's going to kill us. He can't give everything. It never was correcting a woman. It always was you. He said, if a marriage is wrong, it's always the man's fault. That scripture that talks about he that find a virtuous woman ain't got nothing to do with a woman. It's about you. It's about what kind of woman you can find. And it was just like, you could tell he was preaching it from, though, his broken place where he messed up. And that kind of advice, again, I'm going back to it. I believe a woman, even one who hasn't always done right, could be able or should be able to talk to a woman. I don't think we know enough to tell a woman how to be a woman or how to give a woman proper advice.
Tupac said, men can create babies, so they have no right to tell a woman when and where to create one. But anywho,
I don't know about that. I feel like men
I,
can give women
I
advice, especially in relationships.
agree.
Like this is because I like to say
Advice
that
or perspective?
perspective, which is a form of advice,
Both.
is it?
BOAF.
Because
Both.
I like to think that my little circle of men are pretty I'm stuck on this word, but I like to say high value. Like they got their stuff together. And I like to hear the mindset of that kind of guy because that's what I want. So I like to hear that mindset. And so that to me is advice. That to me, to hear how you would deal with the situation, or what do you think about a woman doing this, or just listening to their relationships. Like I have a cousin, a male cousin, and I consider him high value, and he'll talk about his relationships, and I learned so much just by how he describes his situation. The end.
I'm gonna agree. I think men can give advice, and I don't know if I'm saying the same thing, but um I think men can give advice off to women about relationships because that's who I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand men. I'm trying to understand the way men think. And the same, men can get advice from women because they're trying to understand how women think, why women are emote in such a way, why a woman walks like this when she's in front of him and different when she's in front of this person. Like I think that is I I prefer to get advice from dudes.
And we talked. I had a conversation about this family who are sports. They're a sporty family. They play sports. Everybody was just good at sports. It didn't matter what sport it was. But for whatever reason, this family never made it to the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, nothing. And we've concluded in that conversation is because even though the parents were athletic, their children were athletic, they didn't have the knowledge on how to do it. So there was a limit to the advice they could get within their circle. They needed to have gone outside their circle for that advice. And I say that because that's the same thing in relationship. A woman can only tell me how she processed that, like what happened in her situation.
Mm-hmm.
But she hasn't had a success situation, or even if she did, sometimes you don't know how you got it. But the outside of that circle, he can tell me the thought processes that are going on behind the scenes. How can you navigate in this? Because this is the arena you want to be in.
I agree.
So I think that's where I come from when I say a guy can give me relationship advice, and I seek that over a female. And this one guy I know, he's going through a tough situation with his ex-girlfriend, I guess now. And I said to him, she needs to hear from a male perspective or a female that's detached from her. Because a woman that's in her circle, you could do better than that. Because there's a little bitterness there sometimes. They don't really want you to have a good guy. Sometimes. I'm not saying all. So, but getting outside of your circle gives you a clearer perspective.
And
Sometimes.
if
I was going
women and if okay, I talk. And if women were more honest with themselves, or people in general, men and women, then men, if you ask 3 or 4 men about the same scenario, same situation, they're more than likely going to give you the same advice.
Yep.
And if we actually take that advice as a person from whomever we get it, then I think that would make for better relationships. I know this isn't about relationships, but it will make for better relationships and better understanding for one another.
And I was going to say two things, but both of you sort of kind of said it. One, Brandy just said, okay, I can concede to Ashley that point about relationships, but advice, period. What if it's not about relationship? Who should be a woman be talking to? Because let's say they can share with the man, but outside of relationships, because there are a lot of issues that affect women in relationships that are not really relationship issues. That if they had a woman talk to them about them, they would be better in relationships. And secondly,
Example.
um, cooking and keeping home. Even outside of a relationship, those things are needed and necessary, but they definitely make you better in a relationship. Those are not relationship issues.
Not,
Whether
I
you're
mean, we have
single or
to,
you have children,
Welcome to
no, it's
2023,
2023.
oh,
Women,
come on, y'all.
where
women are
men
not,
say repeat. Go ahead.
Come on, y'all.
2023, women are not taking cooking advice from other women. You're YouTubing it.
Right.
So I feel like that's something that's YouTubeable.
Oh,
And in
even if
addition
they're
to
not giving
that,
you advice, even if they're not giving you advice about cooking specifically how to, maybe they need to give you advice about frequency. Is YouTube
welcome
giving you
to
advice about that as well?
I
welcome to
think that
20 hold
you
on.
said
Welcome to 2023 where
no.
men say they don't care if a woman can cook. He can cook for himself.
Okay, y'all. Ow, did I hit a nerve with you? You
I'm
two
just saying
women
that's what
there.
men say.
Oh.
They don't care. I cook
Hey,
for myself.
hey,
I can wash my
hey,
own
hey,
clothes type of stuff.
hey, Leroy, Chad, or Chev, if you're watching, now is the time to get on. But secondly, I want to say Ashley said something that I agree with. But I was going to say, even if you get advice from a man, if I tell you how to think like me, what I can't teach a woman to do is respond like a woman. Even if you have my angle and you have my side and you have my opinion and my perspective, Brandon, I don't know what that is you're drinking, but it looks good. I cannot tell you how to respond like a woman.
Yes, you can. Because you know what I've learned from you, from hearing about your situation, because you're one of the people I listen to when you talk about your situation. And you said to me one time, you said she has such a bad attitude, but now she's nice today. But I know she really has a bad attitude because I've seen it. I stored that. That taught me how to act. That's something you can't go back and forth from. You have to be consistent. So just by you talking tells me how to act. You said several things. You said I don't like. I remember you said I don't like how she yell at the children. Not to put your biz out there. I don't like how she yell at children. And I said, oh, I'm a yeller. I need to work on that. So that taught me how to better act. Even though you're telling me your perspective, because that's your perspective. That's the individual perspective, yours. That might not be universal, but it changed the way I act.
And in addition, that's just like a dude telling you, you're telling him, like using the older lady and the younger lady, where she was like, just, I know you want to pop off, but give him 15 minutes. Give him 15 minutes. If a dude said that, it's the exact same thing. It's telling her how to act or giving her advice on how to act. I know you're ready to pop off, but I'm telling you, this will help. Get a man 15 minutes to just chill and then go talk to him. That's telling me that I need to shut up, calm down, and then bring the thunder.
Please do your Bring the Thunder bow one more time.
Bring the thunder. So I think a man can not necessarily tell, because and I say this because women don't like to be told anything, but he can actually give her advice on how to respond and how to act, and that's usually what you're trying to get advice from anyway. How do I move? No.
No, I agree 100%. I agree with that 100%. I hate that I gotta run, y'all. I gotta go.
Yeah,
Oh
I
no, it's
I
okay.
think I
Say
think
again.
that but when it comes to relationship, I want a relationship I can be myself, where I'm not overthinking it. I'm not taking advice. I'm not altering who I am. Let me just be me, and You like it or you don't. And that's where I am right now in my stage of life. I don't have the strength to try to put on for you and to pretend
Mhm.
like my life is perfect and to be well kept every day and all day long. We're not living an Instagram life. So I want, I have 4 children. That's not changing. They're opinionated. They talk. They make noise. I'm not going to silence them and say, shh, shh, shh. I'm not doing any of that. So that's where I'm at this point. I like to hear relationships and advice and to understand, but that knowing what to do, I think that's out the window for me now. But back in the day, yeah, I could see it.
I want to be myself also. I want advice that's not telling me or not advising me to be this person. Um, but I do want advice that I can consider. Like, okay, if I'm a very I'm a joke around. I'm sarcastic. I'm gonna make a sly comment. That's what I'm gonna do. But if somebody tells me, you don't have to do it as often, simmer that down a little bit because he can't take it or whatever the case may be, then I'm cool with that. I'll take that advice. Great. Who it's coming from? I've had people younger than me give me good dating advice. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's an age thing. I don't think it's anything like that. But I've had people definitely give me good dating advice, no matter the age. Hi. So yeah, I won't
That look like Baby
hold you.
Ray.
Huh?
I said, no, who was that, Baby Ray?
Mm-mm.
Uh,
TD Bailey the second. I think he went to Lyman. I think Lyman.
but yeah,
Um, but yeah, I really want to know, like, so I guess the answer is you get advice where it comes from those that you can expect or that you would think, dang, even still, you think your friends have your best interest at heart and they don't sometimes, but from those that have your best interest. And then I'm also getting that you don't get advice from the Kevin Samuels, the Steve Harvey, the those people that are on line doing their thing.
I
Welcome.
think that they have something to offer as well. But I heard this one guy when I was in I want to say I was in middle school. The question was, who's your biggest influence? And this guy, Arthur Register, I'll never forget this. He said, I am. He said, because I determine what I let bother me or influence me. I determine what I let motivate me. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. Game changer in my life. So I feel like you can get advice from whoever as long as you know how to filter it.
Right. Thoughts the realest
On which what she just said. Yeah, I
on
thought
who
that was real.
on who women should get advice from.
Everybody. I don't think it should be one set, one particular person or one particular group or one particular gender. I think knowledge and understanding should come from everybody. I think having a diversity of thoughts and stuff like that, especially advice, does help. I think helps a person grow, but it also, they can apply it in different contextual events or situations that happen.
Do you think they people what about advice from Steve Harvey or those of the like?
I think you got to eat, well, eat the meat and spit out the bones, right? Because I think,
Mhm.
some of the stuff Steve Harvey said, I don't necessarily agree, but it's other stuff that he said that I'm like, okay, he got a point. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, the whole, act like a woman, think like a man. I thought that was, I didn't necessarily agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think women should think like women and think like men. Now, if he would have said, titled it, act like a woman and to act like a woman and understand a man, I think that would have been different, right? Like, I think that
Right.
would hit a lot harder for me, right? But to think like a man, you know what I'm saying? I guess maybe that's what I mean, I guess maybe that was what he was kind of pointing to, like understanding the mind of a man. But I don't know, like that whole 90-day thing, wait 90 days before you give up the draws.
Y'all
Like
were
I was
not feeling that, huh?
no,
That's the
no.
only
So
thing
you
y'all remember in that
disagree?
darn book.
The realist, you disagree with that rule.
Heck,
What's the day? What's the day then?
I mean, so okay, so which okay, I think so. I'm gonna give. Here's my answer to that. I think you should wait as long as you can until a person makes a full commitment to you for you to get married. But I understand, that's not what people uh, ascribe to, right? I know I've heard women say, "I want to test drive it before I make a commitment to it," right? And
Yes.
because
Shift them gears.
yeah,
Shift
yeah.
them gears.
What if it ain't this? What if it ain't that? And that's just like, that sound good, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of good stuff don't come from test driving. You feel what I'm saying? Like it could, it could ruin the experience, right? Or it could just lead to more deeper intimacy to where most men, we are conquerors. So once we conquer something, right? And it's like,
Right.
okay, I got the draws, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, all
Where's
right,
the
what's
next
next?
one?
Yeah, like what's next? So I think the whole like holding out, and you know what I'm saying, I think that's beneficial because it shows to me that that a man, you know he can have you, but he has to have you under these conditions, right? So there's a level of respect, there's a level of integrity that goes along with that, and then when he finally gets you, it makes that enjoyment that much more better. Because I don't, I ain't, I don't knock back a lot of them. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, I got the draws. Now that I know I got the draws, you know what I'm saying, I treat them different. I'm gonna just keep it a buck, you know what I'm saying. I treat them a little different, you know what I'm saying. And then the intimacy is there, but now when I see them, it's just like, yeah, so what we finna do? Oh, you want to watch a movie? Oh, you okay, make sure you in your tea bags when I get there. You feel what I'm saying? Because you thinking about the movie, I'm thinking about making one. You feel what I'm saying? So and then now it's all about, you know what I'm saying, what position I can put you in every time I come over there and see you. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
dial
How
it
we
back.
can, huh?
You said what?
Dial it back. Let's get.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my bad.
Oh,
Yeah. But you feel, you understand what I'm saying? So that's
right.
But you
So
that's
you,
ain't never answered the days though. So
I mean, I just said it. The days. I just think I really do think there's a level of sanctification that comes when you wait until you get married. I know people can't hold off, so I can't give a specific time. I wouldn't give a specific time frame per se. You know what I'm saying? I
because
can't.
this is what I've been hearing since I'm back single. So from my male
back
Since you
friends,
back,
single.
what?
single,
Single.
single, get in the DM. I say it every time, right? uh,
Every.
and get not one. No, I'm just kidding. So I've been hearing from dudes, sex is just sex, and it's a part of the relationship. So it's no time on it. It's a part of the relationship. And then I got, my daddy old school, you kind of old school. So then I got y'all saying, nah, make them run for it, whatever, whatever. So it's kind of like, and not saying I'm out there in the streets, because I'm not. I'm just saying, well,
Mhm.
no, when I'm gonna get in them streets. But
Right.
I feel like it's just such a mixed perspective that is very confusing for me.
I
Well,
get that people they don't tell me it's a you said it's a part of the relationship. I hear sex is a part of getting to know each other. I'm like, how?
mm.
How? I don't need to get to know you like this, sir. Not right now.
Well, I think part of the confusing part I could say is because for men, that is like a way that we do display that we care about you, right? Like in an intimate way. Once we kind of get, no, I'm serious. Like, What does that mean? Why y'all looking like that?
I'm
It's a
listening.
way for men to show that they
I'm
care.
listening.
No,
Listen,
like
I've had
so if you ever looked at so I look always I try to look at it in the context of the confines of just how I operate and stuff like that. Like when I'm into somebody and I really like dig them and I really like them, right? I'm a dude who does acts of service, right? Like to show a person that I appreciate them. But another way that I really want to show a woman that I genuinely care for is to give myself to her, right?
right, but
Like,
you give yourself to a lot of people.
but previously I did that, right? That was when I was, Paul, Paul said when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put all childish things away. So that childish part of me did that when I saw sex as a game and I saw it as something where it was just all about myself, right?
And
And it was just
can I say something real quick?
yes,
And that's
ma'am.
also why the Bible says that a prophet is not received in his own town because they know too much about you. They can't let that go. We got to let his past go. Finish that, brother.
Right. Right. So when I became more mature, as a man, you know what I'm saying, those things changed, right? I looked at giving myself to somebody in a completely different context, right? It really meant something. If I've been dating somebody for a while and I really want to show her how much I care about her, like I really want to I'm gonna put it down. You feel me? You gonna feel me. You feel me? So, yeah. So I do think it's a means for men to display uh their way of displaying love towards the person that they're with. And I don't know if I doubt if a lot of men would disagree with me. Some may disagree, but I think a lot of men would say that, how we display one way that we display that we care is by giving ourselves to our mates. Right. And then
I feel
holding
like
that.
I feel like if they're honest with themselves, they're gonna disagree with you.
Why? Because you don't think you can, especially if you married to somebody and you just holding that for your spouse, right? Because you can go out, you can be married and still go out there and be hoish.
Right. But I just don't believe. I mean, I'm not saying that all men, I just don't believe that men do that. I think women do as a display of showing somebody that you like them. But I don't think men do. I think men do it for just the conquering of it all.
Well, walk me through the difference between the two.
Women are more emotional because I know, yeah, we talk about men have emotions too. Women are more emotional, so we get attached.
And you saying that?
Attachment
Well,
is real.
see, I think I think studies show that when breakups happen, men tend to be more hurt than women. It's harder for them to get over a breakup than it is for a woman. Studies have shown that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
I
is
so
that? Go ahead.
so so uh I, you actually you about to tell me what you disagree with that. So and I'm gonna let you tell me why, and then I'll respond to why I think that is true.
I don't think guys have a harder time getting over a breakup. Of course, I'm not a guy. I think that guys have a harder time expressing their emotions within a breakup, and then they will. I feel like y'all are able to do some reprogramming internally, and y'all will change how y'all are for the next person or whatever. But I don't feel like y'all have it hard and like it's harder in breakup. I think y'all have a harder time expressing yourself in a breakup. But a woman, it seems like she holds on to it. It's transferred from relationship to relationship because that's what it's to get the whole thing. Girl, don't bring your baggage. It's not don't and guys are saying, don't hold me to what he did to you. I'm not him. Don't treat me. But guys don't tend to do that. And even my ex said to me like a couple weeks ago that a guy he said it's harder for a woman to trust a guy that's been through something because you have to prove to her you're not like the last guy. But for a guy, he's looking at you like you have to uh, disprove yourself to me. I'm gonna trust you until you give me a reason not to. Versus a woman, I don't trust you until you give me a reason to trust you.
So you saying that equates to a guy making it that is more that it's not difficult for them to get over the relationship because they're more trusting.
I think that he's more able to get over the relationship, be to give give trust and to be vulnerable again, versus a woman who's still processing that. Even if she's with a good dude, right? You know, even if she gets with a good dude, there's still hurt from the past that she's somehow holding on to. I think a guy is easier to dump it, to say, you know what, that happened, it hurt me, dump, and don't even talk to her anymore. That's, you know, just there, dump it. We still with her. It could be he hurt me, but I'm still calling them. Oh, what's going on? And you know, blah blah blah. I think women just have a hard time letting go.
And I think
Mm.
that also has to do with time.
And
Like, oh, go ahead.
so I'm gonna listen because I'm about to pick up my daughter. I'm out here in the primary parent role, late volleyball practice. So
So,
I'm gonna have to cut off the video, but I'm still listening.
okay. I
Talk that
think
shade.
that also um that men have this ability. Men, I think it's easier for men to let go of a relationship. I think it is. Because of attachment and how quickly women form attachments. So our attachments tend to be deeper because they've been going on for much longer. However, and this is my personal experience, I will say that maybe it is more difficult for a dude to get over a relationship, because I found that dudes come back and they're like, yeah, I messed up. I shouldn't have let you go. Hey, you still single? Like that kind of stuff. So either they maybe, I don't know. I guess you can explain it. Have they let go of the relationship,
Yeah,
or
I would venture to say that I think, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to I think men can move on, but just because they moved on doesn't mean that they gotten over the person. Right. And I think those two, I don't think those two are mutually exclusive, right? I think that, you know, men can go through a breakup and say, okay, I'm just gonna date somebody else. And even while they're dating somebody else, that doesn't mean that they just because they dated somebody else, that doesn't mean that they're not thinking about the other person who they broke up with. That doesn't mean that they really don't have a desire to be back with that person, that they're not thinking about that person, right? And you
Mhm.
know, and I can speak on that just from experience with myself. You know what I'm saying? I've, you know, had relationships that didn't work out, and you know, I still to this day think about, you know what I'm saying, that person and stuff. And I was just like, dang, you know what I'm saying? And I
Good.
really, yeah, because and it's not just me, man. I know other men that have done the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, dang. So, you know, I think it's definitely hard for men. Well, you know, I say hard. I think it's definitely that men go through a difficult time in breakups, but you know, though it may look like, you know, from the outside that, you know, oh, they're fine, but on the inside, you know what I'm saying, till you sit down and have that conversation, you don't really know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
that's why you will see a lot of men who move on, but they'll still fool their baby mama, right? Because they ain't really let her go. You feel what I'm saying? That's why you will see a lot of men, you know what I'm saying, who, you know, they might have broke their baby mama, somebody might have broke up with them, but as soon as they see them with somebody else, they ready to they ready to die about that thing. Right? They'll go out there and knock
Right.
somebody else off, all cause she was something. Now they have been broke up, but that's because
Mhm.
he ain't let go. He still hurt. You feel what
But
I'm
is
saying?
that emotional or is that
It,
possessiveness?
I think it. I mean, I think it can be both. I think it can be a combination of both. It could be possessive. It could be emotional. But I think the root of it could be that, you know what I'm saying. Like it's because they genuinely are like hurt, right?
Right.
They
Because
are genuinely.
I guess you wouldn't be possessive of something you don't care about, or possessive of something that you really don't want.
Right. Because it's not like, you know what I'm saying, they picking up locusts and being like, huh, you know, I care about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you
Right.
those type of things don't. But
The
when it's
locust.
about something that they ready to die by, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a lot of emotions and feelings attached to that. You feel me? And I think that because men, you know, society has this idea about men being these individuals who
Mhm.
who don't have any feelings, or who do not share their feelings, right? Or it's difficult for them to share their feelings. I think, we get the bad end as of like we don't care and we don't hurt, but we actually do. Like men do care, men do hurt. You know what I'm saying? I was just talking to a dude the other day. He was in tears, literally in tears.
Right, but why aren't you in
Probably shit.
tears with your girl? Like, why? What y'all can be y'all can say y'all have
Not a
emotions, y'all can say
breakup.
this and the third, but y'all don't
And it was,
express those emotions to us.
well, I don't see, but I highly, let me not say highly. I don't, I couldn't agree with you that men may not express, some men may not express their feelings to them, but in the same sense, I think men do express their feelings, and how you understand what's being said is something different, because comprehension is something, you know what I'm saying? In the middle of a conversation, he may be expressing something that he doesn't like. That is him expressing his feelings, right? Now, depending on how you respond to him communicating something that he doesn't like, lets him know whether it's safe to communicate anything else. Because if you
Right.
if you not, because everybody want a safe space to talk, right? Especially women. I'll create a safe space. But then you got to ask, is a space that you're creating, is a space that you want created for you something that you're creating for the other person?
Right.
Meaning, when you communicate how you feel, you want me to acknowledge your feelings, you want me to accept how you feel, you want me to, not minimize that, whether I think it's true or not, but just to validate, hey, those feelings are real, without being combative about it, right?
Mhm.
But on the flip side of that coin is, can you do the same? And 9 times out of 10, right, most women don't do that. We'll have a conversation about how what I said made you feel, and then you'll turn around and say, well, you're not communicating your feelings. Why would I communicate my feelings to somebody who's gonna not validate my feelings? But now we're gonna have this argument about how what I said made you feel versus what I actually said and how I'm actually feeling. So if you're
Right.
not willing to address the feeling that the man is having, and what he's expressing, why should he communicate that to you?
Agreed.
So
I
you
agree.
can see
And
that most women respond in that manner. Everybody wants somebody
I'll
that's
say
going
a lot.
yeah, most. If we had to do, if it was the scale's 100%, I say 75 to 80% of women
That's a lot.
respond in that manner. Yeah, that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what,
You was gonna
what
say
what's
something, Ash?
no, I was gonna say I do feel that guys cry in relationships and breakups or whatever. And I've known a few, that I've talked to who's like, man, I really messed up with this girl. I just feel like that just hasn't been my experience. I wish a dude would be like, hey, I want to be with you. I wish a dude would. But I mean, I've never experienced it for me, but I've seen a lot of guys cry over women. And I applaud them for being able to go to that place. I don't, but what I can say is I don't know if they showed that emotion to her, to the one that they wanted back, versus they friend, Ash, give me advice. So maybe a dude
Agreed.
did cry for me and he just didn't cry in front of me. I don't know.
Yeah, he probably did. He probably didn't cry in front of you. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There is a level of vulnerability that some men will not get to,
Cross. Hmm.
or yeah, cross or reach, right? And I think, for me, I can understand, because a part of that is this, right? Once you get to the point where you like, I'm finna show her some tears, right? You gotta also, in the back of your mind, think she may lose respect for me. There may be a level of respect that she loses from you, right? Like, dude, you a man. You crying. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know. Listen. It sound good. It
No,
does,
it's true. It's true. It's true.
right? But it's because for
Men
some
aren't
reason,
supposed to cry.
when you don't show that vulnerability, that you don't show those tears, it's just something that women want. women want you to be vulnerable, but not vulnerable, not so vulnerable enough to what they think that what they look at it as a weakness. You feel what I'm saying? And
Right.
I don't think.
You can cry, you just can't cry every day. You know what I'm saying?
I think the first time that you cry is just gonna be, especially over a situation. I think it's sometimes it's hard to bounce back from that.
I don't know. You want to show me a little passion? Go for it. Just don't put your hands on me. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, girl,
That's
you ain't going nowhere.
But listen
But
to what I'm saying. But you mature. You talking to somebody that's mature. We talking to somebody that has guidance. We talking to somebody that's, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't saying you've been trained for harder, but you've been trained to
oh,
handle yourself in situations. You feel what I'm saying? So it's
right.
like everybody don't got everybody don't got that type of background. You feel me? So I'm gonna tell this, dog. And I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I So I remember me and this chick broke up, and I ain't gonna lie, I was hurt. I was hurt. I was like, yeah, dog. I'm like, I gotta go get her back. You know what I'm saying? So I pull up. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? She's like, what? I was like, damn, babe, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And I can't say it was all my fault, but I fell on the sword because I wanted her back. You feel what I'm saying? Because she had did some slick stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, you know what? Let me move past that. So I'm in there talking to her just about, you know what I'm saying, what we done been through, how much I care about it. And now I got to the point where I'm sobbing now. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't like, oh my God, I can't.
Okay.
You
I'm
know what I'm
like,
saying?
what
But
kind of style?
nah, but I got tears coming down, man, and they rolling like heavy. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "Oh, well, you right, my
Well, you
bad."
right. Dang, I'm trying to see how that feels for
You
somebody to be
right,
like, why are you crying?
you right. You know, I was like, you right, you right. I
I would
said,
have said the same thing. I'd be like, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
nah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I just told her, I said, forgive me for being vulnerable enough to show you my heart. That's what I said, and I said
And
that.
what she say? That was good. What she say? It's like a
That's
soap opera.
I said that's on me. You ain't got to worry about me doing. You ain't got to worry about me doing that again. And then that just
To
turned into.
her or other feet, like to her or everyone.
I said
Like
that to her, but no, but it did teach me that, hey, you know what? This probably isn't the best way to go. You know what I'm saying? This isn't a way
wow.
to go. Like, you cannot be this vulnerable enough in this position with a woman, because essentially they may look down on you, but they may see it as a sign of weakness, when really I thought it was a sign of strength, right? For me to be that
It's a sign
emotionally
of strength. It's a sign of comfort. It's a sign of trust.
right.
Like if a dude gonna
Right,
shed a tear,
what I'm saying is mature women understand that, right? But if you're not mature enough, right, then you look at it like, you know what I'm saying, what's going on? Like, what's really happening? You feel me? And I think that's the difficult part about being, that vulnerable when it comes to a woman. You understand what I'm saying? But especially for black men, you feel what I'm saying? Especially for black men, dog. I as much as I I don't want to give an excuse for us as, a race of black men, right? But through everything that we gotta fight through, right? And just to reach that place of vulnerability where it was like, I'm broken, you know what I'm saying? Here is my brokenness, here is me, and and all of, the, I won't even say the worst side of me, but the one of the most vulnerable sides of me. See me, you feel what I'm saying? Don't ignore me, don't downplay it. Like, literally see me, you feel what I'm saying? Like, see my heart, hear my heart, you feel what I'm saying? And then, you start thinking of like everything else we gotta fight through for me to get to that place. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot. You know what I'm saying? So at least respect that it takes a lot for me to even get there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm going against my own intuition. You on mute, Brandy? I mean, yeah,
I
you
just
on
saw
mute.
that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just saw it. It said microphone mute. Um, I think white men cry all the time. In my world, I ain't lying. In my world, I feel like white men are crying left and right when they get home. But that freedom to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They get to be emotional. They don't have to
Mm-hmm.
be masculine. They don't have to put on the persona because their skin is dark. They have to be darker, like whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case may be. But in turn, I'm also going to say that that's what Black women have to deal with also. We can't be aggravated. We can't be emotional.
What's that?
Um,
Elaborate on that. When you said you can't be aggravated, you can't be. What does that mean? What do you
like, because
mean?
then we're the angry Black woman. Like, we can't be like, oh my gosh, this sucks. Like, this is horrible. Oh, why are you so angry? Or we're like, I don't like your shoes. Oh, she's mad. Like, you can't say, you have to watch what you say, how you say it, when you say it, who you said it to. It's just the whole, and because I said that to the comment that you said, like, you don't want to lump a race together, like lump it in, but that's how we have been positioned in this world to be looked at.
Right.
So for me to cry somewhere, be like, oh my gosh, like, you're supposed to be the strong Black woman that can take anything. You don't need an epidural. You just push babies out and you don't care, like, type of the stuff.
Mm. Mm.
So if when a man, if when my dude, even if it's just a friend, if you feel the need, I don't believe in telling boys not to cry. If you have to cry, kid, cry. Whatever. So if a Black man has to feel like that's the emotion that he wants to display, I'm all for it.
Mm.
But not that. But yeah.
I think that there's limitations on it. I feel like I don't want
Mhm.
someone crying all the time.
Right.
And I think that there's certain reasons to cry. If and this is gonna sound really bad, so don't bash me. But I feel like if you slam your hand in the door, I don't feel like a guy should be crying about that. That's just me, I know. But I feel like some things you just gotta swallow. But like emotional pain, I agree with that. You know,
Well, I will
But
not
phys-
bash you because I agree.
but physical pain, you gotta swallow that.
small physical pain. If you got shot, well, I don't even know. I feel like you got shot. You gotta just, you can let a tear drop, but I don't want to hear nothing.
Thug life.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding on that. But I feel like it's levels of pain, and I know everybody's pain levels aren't the same. But I think because I have a high tolerance, I expect a high tolerance. I don't know, but I'm working on it. Y'all pray for me.
I'm
Mm.
gonna agree. If you stump your toe, are you are you are you crying? Like, I'm gonna ask that question. I'm gonna ask that question.
Yeah, but what if he's stomping and you see that he crying and he go to the hospital and realizes it's broken?
That he needs to say, I need to go to the hospital. Don't be like and then lay down. It's a problem.
You do y'all
I'm
hear?
not. I'm not gonna call him out on that.
No,
But I
hold on,
will feel some type of. I
Brandy,
will.
Brandy. I'm
Yeah, I think I wouldn't do that. I think that's a bit much.
but not even that. Because we all can be honest and say some things that transpire to us, our body naturally responds to it in a particular
Hmm.
manner, right? So
Hmm.
if the body is naturally responding to it outside of a person's, controlling it, right? That means the person has a control, you know what I'm saying, what the body is naturally responding to, right? And I'm saying, how is that healthy in a matter of pain, right? Because if that's what my body is naturally doing, right, and I'm in tears about a stub toe, right, per se, right,
Hmm.
why is that an issue? What it could, because to you that shows what?
I think because black women grew up in the same household as the. I'm sorry, little black girls grew up in the same household as little black boys who were told not to cry. So we heard that men don't cry, and I'm speaking for myself. So that's a learned behavior that I have taken on, and because I remember hearing you don't cry from that. I remember hearing that. to a little black boy. You don't cry from about this particular type of thing, and it was pain related. So if I process it, maybe that's where I get that mindset from. Not making it right or wrong, but maybe that's where I get it from. And I feel like minor pain does not equal crying
Right.
from
Because that
because I feel like both of us can't be crying all the time.
because that equates to what for you is what I'm saying.
That equates to a level of softness
Hmm.
that I feel like there shouldn't be softness in that area.
Mm.
And not like I'm saying it has to be like not it can't not big pain but minor pain.
Let me ask this
In my
question.
opinion, what I consider minor pain. Let me say that too.
Let me ask this question. The realist. Do you be crying when you stub your toe?
No, I'm not gonna cry when I stump my toe. That's just
Okay,
me.
just
Yeah,
checking.
that's just me. But I have seen a man stump his toe and he was in tears, but when he went to the hospital, the pinky toe was broke.
It's just a pinky toe. It's not a thumb, you
Right.
know? No, I'm
I,
joking. I also think that that's dude, where's your you can't like if I stump my toe, and maybe I would do it in comparison to myself. I think it's more so in comparison to myself. If I stump my toe, it's gonna be like, God, look at that. Whew. But I ain't finna I'm not waterfalling it. Like breathe through that pain. Some pains you just have to breathe through. And I feel like same thing applies for a man. If you hit your thumb with a hammer, breathe through it, brother or sir.
you hit your thumb with a hammer,
Yes, I've hit my thumb with a hammer before, and I'm like,
full throttle.
yeah, when I'm doing. I mean, I'm not like who's
I
whack
think
a
it's
moling
I
the
think
friggin' nail.
for me, I think I shake off pain too. But I feel like if my dude is with me, I'm gonna hype it up a little bit because I want to be baby. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna hype it up a little bit. But
Mm,
I feel like for me, if my dude hit his thumb, I'm going to naturally give him that. I just don't want to see him. I prefer not to have him crying.
I get it.
And again, that's a learned behavior because because my dad owns a tree service. He literally got a chainsaw to his face. And I remember he was just looking at it. He was like, oh man, I
He
gotta go to the
actually,
plastic surgeon.
yeah, he left
He
the
was more
job,
concerned about
came to the house, and then went to the hospital.
so for me, to me, that's major pain. And he didn't cry. So those things are embedded in me. Like I remember those things as a kid, seeing that
Hmm.
my dad didn't cry from those things.
Hmm.
So to me, it has to be major pain for me.
Mm, mm. So that reminds you that you're dealing with a man's man. He's a manly man. And that's attractive to you, correct?
I wouldn't
That's
say
what
that's
it's,
a manly man. I would say that that's just a man. Not a manly man, but that should just
oh.
be the
Understood.
So you
standard
s-
of
oh, I
man.
see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So that should be the rule of thumb for all men across the board.
That's just men.
No, no, no. That should be the
Yeah.
rule of thumb for all men
Yes.
across the board.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's soft.
Not soft. He's
Otherwise,
just
he's not for me.
no otherwise he's
He's
still
not for
growing.
me.
He's still maturing.
I see what you're saying. The get over to suck in pain. That's a maturity process. You got to mature into that thing, huh?
That's
You
a
got
that's a mental state. That's a
you got
mental.
you got you got to mentally mature into that
You
space,
gotta
huh?
get
To
there.
suck in pain.
And but let me say this
But
in the
that's
words of
legit. That's actually true.
Oh,
let me qualify this though. This is also being said by a woman who had all four of her children naturally with no pain medication. Because I do feel like pain is a state of mind. And I did breathe through that and I did eat it. And they say giving birth is nothing worse than that than death. So
mm,
so if I do it, I practice it, so I expect it.
that's good.
And it's just like it is a maturity thing. Because as a child, you stump your toe, you're crying. But as you get older, you learn how to deal with pain, and you learn from each time you've done something. This person says, funny how someone who last week, it's funny how someone who last week that said women can't raise men but have such opinions about what a man is.
Who said that?
Two guesses.
I'm not gonna guess. Who said that?
He your cousin, Chevalier.
Oh,
Chevalier.
okay. Ain't nobody gonna ask you to pop on. You stay off tonight, boo. Because I hope you ain't talking about me. Because
He is.
I can clearly say what I feel a man is, and I didn't. Anyway, I'm not gonna. You get no time. Moving
I
on.
agree. Nope.
Moving
I'm
on.
gonna give that time. I'm gonna give that time. I have to be able to say what a man is according to me. Because if I don't know what a man is to me, then I'm dating anybody. So yes, I know what a man is to me, and a man that isn't stumping his toe crying is a man to me.
That makes sense.
Just like I would think you would be able to define what a good employee is. What's the difference?
So let me say this, because the question is, who should women get advice from? So, you know, when it comes to certain things, maybe you shouldn't get, advice from everybody, especially when it comes to how to deal with that.
Actually, first of all, boom, pause, time out. I'm gonna take a 20 on this one. Men should probably get advice from women because women handle pain better than men. So maybe we should go through some breathing techniques to help you eat that. I'm just saying.
I agree.
Did I show this one?
And
Okay, and am. That means he was talking to you, and he used your initials. So yeah, I think you should get advice from like Ash said earlier. You should get advice from different people based on what that person's position, or like she says, you get advice from mothers when it comes to kids. You get advice from dudes when it comes to guys, or whatever the case may be, like that kind of stuff. But you can't get advice from everybody. You have to know what did you say it was? You have to know the intent
Behind the
behind
person giving that advice.
Say again?
Yeah, behind the person giving the advice, you need to know their intent. Because not everybody has your best interest at heart.
Right, but I hear a lot of dudes talking about something. Nah, you don't get advice from your friends. Or I've had guys tell me I can't get advice from my dad. I'm like, if you knew how neutral my daddy was, you'd be like, please go to him first. But those are the two I get. No, don't get advice from your dad, and don't get advice from your friends. No, yes, maybe so.
the friends part I could definitely understand, but I
Me
think
too.
I think men tend to think that women are biased and they can't hold other women. They don't believe that they hold other women accountable. So therefore, it could kind of come off like they might feel like they'll just feed into your narrative because you guys are friends, versus really saying, okay, well, this friend could be objective and still hold me accountable to things that I might not necessarily, that I might think is right, but they might think is wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I think, I think the fear of that, would stop somebody from saying, don't go get advice from your friends. Cause I believe I believe you should get advice from your friends, right? Cause they the closest people to you. They know you the most, you know what I'm saying? I think I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that, they are going to do right by you because it's the right thing to do. But, that don't always work out like that. And then TV and all this other stuff has an influence on us to where we're thinking, okay, you watch these shows and it's like something, you see something that the male or female done wrong, and it's like the friends are like, yeah, you was right, you shouldn't do this, you should. They let that shape their narrative of what life and relationships is like, and in reality that could be furthest from the truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I think the disconnect comes when we are having conversations, you know what I'm saying, and we not asking each other, hey, how do your friends hold you accountable? right? And I think if you have that strategic conversation, you'll know, you know what I'm saying, dang, okay, I can trust your friends. I can trust that, something, goes or south, your friends will hold you accountable in this particular manner. But most people ain't asking those personal questions like that, right? So
Yeah.
they fall back in an assumption that it's gonna be this way because most people feel like they already know what it is, so they ain't gotta ask the question. And I think we do ourselves a disservice when we operate in that manner.
Right. And I was literally just thinking, I need to get a new set of friends because my friends don't, the two that I mean, friends, the two that I have outside of my family, they don't let me get away with nothing. Like
Mm.
if I wear something, they're like, no. Like you see some females out and they dress like they look a mess, and their friends like, girl, you doing it. Like I think you need to like as a dude, okay, let me ask this. As a dude, do you say to your like girlfriend, you be like, yeah, your friends aren't your friends. They let you go outside like that. They don't like you. Or to
No.
your friends, not even to your girl, to like your female friends.
uh
He said no.
no, because I'm more on the mental aspect of it, right? I'm more like, what type of advice are they giving you to become better, or what flaws or something that they see that you don't necessarily see in yourself? Like, how are they speaking to your life in that context? Now, if they're not speaking to your life in that context, and I'll say, hey, you probably need to, I wouldn't say find new friends, right? Especially if it's something that they develop over the years. I would say, hey, I think you and your friends need to challenge each other more in this specific area. You understand what I'm saying? Because I don't think it's
Mhm.
like worth leaving friendships just because people don't have the capacity or the understanding of what that practically looks like in their life. Because I think sometimes friends don't say things that the friends don't say things to other friends because they think it could hurt them, and because of that fear of hurting them in that painful state, and putting them in that painful state, and it might cause distance from the relationship. Therefore they don't communicate those things because from the fear of losing the relationship, or the fear of being distance, or the fear of somebody saying, oh, you judging me. Oh, and then the person gonna bring up, oh, well, girl, what about you when you did this? So that you understand what I'm saying? So all those
Right.
different elements come into play. So and I try to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? I think the more we can have honest conversations, I think the better it does with how you're able to function, within the
So
confines of your friendship, and then that can run over to relationships as well.
so the person that doesn't want to give it, doesn't want to hurt their friends' feelings, should that person be giving advice? Like to other people? Forget her friends, just like some girl, there's a event and somebody asks you a question. It's like, if you can't give your friend the truth, don't come over here trying to give me the truth.
Well, I think that's different, right? I think we all I think there's a level of freedom that comes with giving advice to people who you're not necessarily emotionally attached to, because there's no
Mhm.
fear. You're not losing nothing. You understand what I'm saying? You're not losing nothing at all. So you can be
Balls to the
vulnerable.
wall.
You can be, yeah, you can be honest, because it's like, all right, I'm finna keep it real with you, right? Like, we ain't lose. I ain't got nothing necessarily at stake, but who I am. So let me share with you. I can share with you my raw, authentic thoughts, right? Because there is no attachment like that. But when you add that attachment to it, right, and that fear of losing something, then you know what I'm saying, the communication it can be compromised by that.
Let me ask this. Do you believe, or would you believe, that the best advice comes from strangers?
I wouldn't say the best advice. I think they can give some good advice, but I wouldn't necessarily say the best advice comes from strangers. No.
I mean, because it offers uninhibited. What is the word? Now I'm gonna look
Uninhibited.
on it, girl. You better come. Thank you. So I've been thinking about that all
Well,
night.
she said it uninhibited.
Right, dummy, you
And the
I
look
dummy.
on her
think
face.
I think good advice does come from strangers, not the best, but good advice, because that person who's receiving the advice also gave the full truth, because you tend to give the full truth to a stranger too. So they're able to give you real advice because you're conscious of who you're talking to. And I can't tell this person this about me because I gotta see them again, or I don't want them to really know I've done this in my life. So you're censoring the situation. So you're not really getting accurate advice. Or you'll lie about who said what. Oh, he was really in my face going, "Ah, ah, ah." And really he was calm. But you want them on your side, so you will change the narrative. Sometimes. I'm not saying all people do that.
Mm.
But I think that guys, this is me personally. I feel like, and I can speak even though I can't raise a man. I feel like guys give other guys advice, in my opinion, more from a toxic place than women, because y'all give it from a hurt place.
Look,
Like she, because I've heard this. I've heard this. My friend said you was gonna do that, or my friend,
Mm.
his so and so did that, so you gonna do it, and it's like it's more of a hurt place, and guard yourself because this gonna happen to you, instead of just go with the flow. This is what it is. This is like, pay attention to who you talking to. It's more of this what I've been through, and dog, dog, you just dog, this what I've been through, dog, and it's like, come on, man, give the dude advice based on his situation, not your situation.
so are you saying that, if I'm understanding you correctly, are you saying that to give advice from a place of experience? So if I've been through something and this person is going through something similar to that what I went through, and to give them advice based off that current situation, that is actually toxic?
No, I said in the delivery, the way y'all give it from a top place. It's not, I've been through this and this is how you can get, this is what I've been through, but feel like whatever, whatever. It's more like, dog, like you trying to warn him, dog, I'm telling you, I've been through, and this is the only outcome. And it's like, versus, I feel like some women, sketch one of these on my free time for real. What does that mean? I don't even know the comment. But I feel like women would say, oh my gosh, put him back in the backstage. Put that Negro in the backstage. We don't want to hear him.
Superman, what's up, boy? What's up, Superman? I
Good
see
evening,
you.
He
everybody.
get no airtime.
Praise
I
the Lord,
feel like
everybody.
dudes give advice from a toxic place, especially.
I'm gonna agree with that.
That
Men give
men
the
give.
cautionary. I think men give the cautionary tale.
How is that toxic though? That's what hasn't been explained. How is that? What makes that toxic?
Probably because it isn't
Uh,
authentic.
What
it's
does that mean?
like, because I've heard. I mean, I've experienced. This is this quick story. So I had mixed up my dates with the father of my children, because we have time sharing, and I mixed up the dates. And I said, no, you get them. You don't get them this weekend. My friend said you was gonna do that. He said gonna switch up the dates. Y'all hold as weapons. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking, but while he talking, because I said, no, you get next weekend. I'm looking at my calendar trying to find it. I said, oh, my fault. I got the wrong date. But in his mind, he was looking for me to start withholding the children from him. Because y'all give advice from a top place. Dog, I'm telling you, the next thing she gonna do is she gonna hold them kids. And because I had to drive, he said, I'm telling him the whole story.
You
And
know,
my friend
time out,
said he had
time
to
out.
drive to
Ash,
Miami, and when he got to Miami, she wouldn't let them see them kids. And I'm like,
Ash. I don't think he was looking for you to say that. I think when you said it, it brought up the conversation that he had with his friend. Because no one can. I don't think he was anticipating you to actually say that, right? Because if we having a
I
conversation and we set a date we set a date for whatever date that is supposed to be, and then you respond in that manner when I'm expecting you to respond and say, okay, let's do this. And then next thing you know, when you say what you said, that's the trigger. Oh, you know what? I remember somebody told me this is exactly how you was going. This is
and
exactly how
that's
you.
my point. That's
But
my
right.
what you no, wait a
hold
minute, wait a
on,
minute. You
hold on.
are
You
my
ain't let me
point.
fit. You're not letting me fit. You know, I'm not. You think
Okay, go ahead and finish.
I'm not going to your point. What I'm saying is, experiences for people, right? If this their experience, right? If that happens to them, and you turn around and do that same experience, that how is that toxic? What is toxic about the idea and belief that this person is actually doing this? Because let's just say God, God, thank God that you didn't do it, but let's just say that's what you were doing. Then was the person wrong for giving them that advice?
It's more
No,
inauthentic
wait,
than it
no.
is toxic, because
What you
toxic
just
comes
said
from a
was
place
toxic.
of toxic comes from a
Your
place
no, wait a
of
minute. Your response to that was toxic. Well, you did mix up the dates, but had I said,
I
wait
never
a minute,
said you
had I,
mix
hold
up the
on.
date.
You said your response of messing up the date, you did. You talked about the dates, and it brought back the experience of what his friend told him. You did just say that. Now if I would have said he mixed up the dates, and I was like, well, yeah, then the response, well, women so snappy.
I wouldn't have said that.
You jump to conclusions.
I wouldn't have
That
said
is
that.
not is not.
I would have.
Anyway, we ain't fit.
I
Back it
would have.
up.
I would
You're
have.
right.
And
Period. You're right.
I think to me, I think the issue is, right, when we dealing with stuff that's already sensitive to nature, we tend to always think the worst, right? There tends to be this idea of, when we are dealing with something that's very sensitive, when a person responds in that manner to us, there's already a hurt, there's already a pain, there's already stuff that we're already filtering through in our mind that takes us to this place of being protecting ourselves.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yep.
wait.
I don't.
No.
Wait, let me say something.
Oh my
The
God,
person that
y'all ain't gonna let me. I can't finish my thought.
Let me say something.
I can't even finish my
Let me
thought.
say
I can't
something.
even finish my thought. Here
Maybe
come the hijackers.
maybe that is the
Here come
case.
the hijackers.
However, if you're in a situation where you're not always doing that, like you've never done that before, and this person comes at you talking about something, my friend said you would do that. That's
Right.
toxic.
Hold on.
and that was gonna be
That's
gonna be my point.
Brandon, no, that point is wrong, because what you're saying is, just because a person didn't do said thing in this manner, that means that they won't do it. But you're not talking about other behaviors that could have transpired that led them to say, maybe I can't even trust this person. So it doesn't have to be the one offense that caused mistrust. There are other things.
I didn't say it was the one offense. I'm saying based off, let me talk.
Okay.
I'm saying that if you're basing that off of one event, then yes, that's the issue. Your friend is projecting their problems onto you, and you've sucked that stuff up, talking about something they said that's what you were gonna do.
However,
And
that doesn't mean he's toxic.
No, the friend is toxic.
Wait, no. But you weren't talking about the friend, Ashley.
If Chubb wears the hat every time I'm with him, and I've seen Chubb in this Superman hat, hold on, and my friend then tells me when a man wear that hat, he's upset with you. Then the next time I see Chubb in that hat, I go, see, I knew you was upset with me. Wait a minute, but his was never applied to the situation. I've never acted in such a way for him to have that. And the conversation was very calm. I said, no, I don't think you have him this weekend. My friend said you do that. All I said was, I don't think you have him this week. I'm looking at the calendar. I said, I don't think you have him this weekend.
The realists don't say nothing.
Okay.
So I feel it's toxic. Wow. It's toxic.
So Ashley, sis, may I?
That ain't my name.
May I? To be toxic means you're coming from a place of intention. The example that you gave is not a place of intention. It was not a place of intention. It was a whole different space. So when you're saying, so we're talking about being authentic versus being toxic, or the inauthentic. It was an inauthentic place that I believe the person that you are talking about came from, rather than it being an intentional space of hurt. And so when we're throwing around the word toxic in a way that makes me uncomfortable, because that's not what toxic actually is. And I think women use toxic to describe something that they disagree with often, and it is not that being toxic.
Okay. I'm gonna say it is being toxic, because toxic is destructive. You're being destructive to how me and this person relate to one another by saying that's exactly what she gonna do, and you know nothing about me. One. And two, if you're projecting your situations and telling this dude that that's what I'm gonna do, and you don't know me, and you're not even a part of this relationship, yeah, it's toxic.
But
You're
what I'm trying,
you're destroying a good relationship by assuming that this is what I'm gonna do.
The
So now
only
Stephen
reason
brought it over here and lost his rabbit mind.
I
The
think
What?
you just proved Chubb's point. The reason why you
thank you,
call it
thank you.
toxic is you disagree
Someone
with
You
it,
said it.
what?
right? That's why you're calling it toxic,
Someone said it.
because you disagree with it, right? That's
I
why
think, yeah.
specifically you're calling toxic, because you disagree with it. But
I said
It's
because
not.
it's destructive. I didn't say anything about disagreement. I said because it's
right,
destructive to the relationship.
right, but
Destructive,
you're
toxic,
right. What
destructive.
I'm saying is you're disagreeing with the advice and how it's coming across, so therefore you think it's toxic. But I will say this, because I want to make sure, like, because I think context is always brings clarity to a situation, right? I think it's not just that situation that led to that response, right? There are multiple situations that have transpired throughout. You can shake your head. I'm telling you, there are multiple
Well, it's her
situations
situation, so she
Right, it's
can't.
my situation,
there,
and
there, there
I
are
like how you always give this
there,
person the benefit of
there,
the doubt.
there
You got
are
all these scenarios,
well, hey,
and you
sometimes
it's
you, hey,
like it's
you know,
crazy.
it's different. I think it's different when you talk to the person and you try to understand where they coming from, right?
Which it's your situation, but it's the other person's intent, and you're trying to make a hypothesis of what the other, or you're trying to make fact of what the other person's intent was,
Okay,
and you're
let's. Sorry,
But
I
I,
cut you off. Go. I'm sorry.
but
I'm
what
sorry,
I
Chef.
but what yeah, because what I was saying, what I'm saying is there are other elements inside of those things that that actually transpired in relationship that does cause people to just what I'm saying, kind of be like, oh man, I ain't think this would happen, but what I'm saying, she did do this, even though I never thought that I never thought she would have done that. So it's not beyond the realm for something like this to transpire, because she never did this before, but it happened. I gave her the benefit of the doubt and this happened. So just because something happens once doesn't equate to a person not saying that the person isn't excluded from something negative impacting them happening again. And I don't think we can disclude or exclude that, that thought or that idea of, when we interacting with each other, that statement is deeper than just, this one situation. It's more about how the other person may see the other person based off of their experience with them.
I don't know how. Back to my original comment. I feel like guys give advice from a toxic place. It's not. I feel like it's not how y'all say. Don't get advice from your friends, from your girlfriends, because they good for you and they whatever. I think guys will give their perspective and will give the negative of their perspective is a resolution, a way to deal with it. And I'm not saying all guys, but it seems like it could negative space quite often.
Can I ask you a clarifying
And
question? Because I think I
yes,
maybe misunderstood something. So you're saying, and maybe this is what I misunderstood, and are you saying that the advice that men get from other men, so the man who's giving the advice to their friend is coming from a toxic place, not
right,
the man who understood?
right.
Okay,
That's not. I'm talking about the guy.
then I misunderstood what you were saying originally.
Right. That's I'm like, where are we even going with all of
And
this?
because of that, I don't change my stance. I still don't think it's toxic, but I do now understand what you're trying to say.
Right. No, I don't think the guy that I was referring to, as far as what he said was from he was being toxic. No, I think the
Understood.
advice that was fed to him was
Understood.
coming
So
from a toxic
I
place,
was
which
coming from
changed his perspective.
my argument I was coming from was I thought that person B that was saying it to you originally was the person you're referring to as toxic, but person
No.
A is what you're referring to as the toxic person.
Right. I know. I think
Disagree.
B
I still disagree.
intent.
Right. I still disagree. However, I've miscommunicated what those things were. But I don't think like, as a person who is a man that gives advice to other men who are my friends, My advice that I give does not come from a toxic place. My advice that I give comes from an authentic place, one that I think they need to hear in the moment, and something that I believe is going to make them better from it. But the advice that I give to my male friends doesn't come from a place of intent to hurt folks. And that's what toxic is. Comes from a place to be malicious and to create hurt in others.
Right, and I as mentioned
Right,
before,
and I agree
not
with
all
that, and
men.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
But you were saying that you made a general statement that men do that
She
to
also
other.
said not all men.
Okay.
But I said I think that men do it because before you popped on, it was said don't get advice from your female friends, and I was saying I think that men can give advice from a toxic space.
But
But
cannot
no, I don't
anyone
feel
give advice from a toxic space?
right. We
Is
were
it just
saying women
men?
do it. No, we were saying women
Mm.
do it. And some women don't have your
She's
best interest at heart. Some women are miserable. They want you to be miserable too, even though you're their friend. Misery
Oops.
loves company. But I was just
Hello.
saying that men also give advice from a toxic place and not a place of trying to heal.
and she was also saying that she believes men do it more than females. And I'm that chick in college that hung out mostly with dudes. I hung out with basketball players, football players, fraternity dudes all the time. Like that's
Okay, USF.
please don't ever say that again in your life. Delete, delete, delete. Um, and listening, I'm an observer. I'm one of those people that'll sit there and listen. They do. Those people that I hung out with, let me clarify so that somebody don't talk about I'm talking about all men. The ones that I hung out with in college, which is the vast majority of the brown skinned men at the school, they did give that advice. I'm like, who hurt you? Like, who really hurt you? So I agree with you. Sus.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it. Sus.
Yes, sis.
Sus. Okay.
And why is Leroy and Brandy frozen? Are they just frozen for me?
Yeah,
I'm
your
frozen.
connection most of the night has not been really good. So, yeah.
I like the
Chubb, you're
dark.
not
Hey,
frozen.
listen, but Ash, I do like the dark background. To be
I
honest with you,
know.
it
It
does
is
highlight
really, yeah.
the highlights in your hair, brings out your skin tone. Looks
She looks
very
like a fluorescent candle, and it looks really
yes,
great. The
yes.
skin is
Yes, you
skinning.
you are
They
The
they
gorgeous.
call
skin
this
is
low
Skin
key.
skinning.
is skinning.
The
Yeah,
This is
skin
yeah.
is
low
skinning.
key.
Skin is skinning.
Do you so okay, so my dad said that women should get advice from older women. Um, do you believe that women should get advice from older men?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uncle Michael Ray gives some of the best advice. I ain't even gonna lie. Your daddy gives some of the best advice. You feel me?
Oh,
Like,
that's what
yeah,
both of them.
yeah.
I
I
love
def,
you. I
I
love you. So yeah, then what kind of advice you asking about?
yeah, yeah.
And I legit think my dad gives great advice because he doesn't care if he hurts you. I mean, he's very neutral. Like you're wrong, you're wrong. It is what it is. So women should get advice from older men, and I definitely feel like men should get advice from older women, like 40s, 50s. Leave them alone.
Yeah,
60s, 70s. Those women.
because I try to put my nieces up on game often, and so yeah.
Okay, me too. Well, I'm not gonna hold y'all anymore because I want to go to sleep. Um, I've only had 4 hours of sleep in the last 3 days. So,
Wow.
right.
Let me hold
So,
some.
thank you all for
Let me hold
joining.
some. When a person ain't get that much sleep, in the past 3 days, that mean they done made some money. You know what I'm saying? Let me get a couple
No,
dollars to watch it.
that ain't what it always means.
Oh,
But anyhow, um, thank you. I'm delusional. Thank y'all for joining. Next time jump on earlier. You down here, you
yeah. I
got right
came here.
here.
I jumped on as soon as I got out of church. So my
You
bad.
did, and you jumped on quick. I was like, oh
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
he's here.
yeah.
So thank you. Do you guys have any last comments? Like, don't ask these kind of questions. Figure that out for yourself. Block vulnerability.
I'd like to start with this one. I will continue to take the advice of the other three folks on this panel, and I have done so. So I want to make sure that that is stated out loud, and that the best advice comes from a differing of perspectives and backgrounds and ideas. And so I will say that. And this is
Well,
the
I'll
best
go.
one yet. I'm just kidding. Let me stop.
No, Chev, I think
I'll
that's
go after or Chev and say I will no longer take advice from Chev and this. And that's all I have to say.
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I think Chev, that's definitely right. Like like university, diversity, and unity, and that's how we come up with these different thoughts and stuff like that. And so I definitely agree with you on that, man. And holding the fort down, yeah, for sure.
And I'll round it out by saying, don't ask for advice if you're not willing to take the advice. Don't just be asking for advice when you already have your opinion set. Get out of here. You're wasting my time.
Sus, you finna be up for a little bit, Sus.
No,
Sus.
I do feel like this was a personal attack on me. I want to say that
Oh,
for the record. And I will be considered if I will be on the next one. And if I do want Chev or the realest pop song, I will be popping off.
oh.
So just put that in
Wait
your
a
front pocket.
minute. Wait a
And
minute.
I will see y'all at the family reunion.
The ones that don't happen. Wait a
And
minute.
exactly. That'll be the next time I
Wait
see you
a
at the family
minute.
reunion. Exactly.
Wait a minute.
We need to put one
Okay.
together though.
We need a healing. We need a healing justice framework for right now, because.
Well, I believe the next topic is, do politicians have too much power?
Ooh.
Okay.
Count
I
me
won't
out.
ban you.
Because he's too excited.
Well,
I'm out.
I will see. I will see. Not Ashley next week apparently, but I'm on that one.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Sus,
Don't
you gonna
call
be up?
me. Don't call me. I'll call you.
I love y'all.
Let you. She gonna call you. She gonna call you. Actually, she calling you right now.
My phone did.
Wow. Thank you guys for joining. I'm sorry, I'm sleepy. But as usual, I enjoyed you all. Thank you for your comments. Frankie, Chev, you guys comment. TD, and Christina. That is how men think, and it's really weird sometimes to try to. That's when what his name, when Steve Harvey was like, think like a man. I was like, I don't think I want to. I don't think it's very clear in there. It's probably confusing. So maybe we should have that talk also. But thank you for joining. Y'all have a great night. See y'all next week, maybe sooner. Trying to get more done, more than once a week.